All right, ladies and gentlemen, real fast, I want to touch base on the 04 case. And I might be without mods because it's kind of late and they're off sleeping. They work so hard. Hold on 1 minute, folks. I have to check something here. All right. Hey, Mark Klein. Now, Idaho 4 case. Do we really know what went down? Not yet. But what if? And it's a big what if. What if they had the time off? Ethan and Xanon got home at what time? 1:45. The girls got home at 1 o'clock from the food truck. Hello, little Debbie. Sorry to interrupt you. I thought maybe you were sleeping. Was it a targeted kill? What did he did Ethan and Xana walk in possibly into the house into a murder in progress? And thus far they seen the murderer or might have heard it and reacted to it, and thus far they had to be taken out because they might have seen who it was. I mean, we really don't know. The times, at first they were saying, well, this happened around 3 o'clock in the morning. But do we really know? Because there was no call to the police that said we know this crime started here because we had our first call at this time. See, there's an 8-hour difference in before they called the police. So what if? Now this is just a theory and a speculation. What if the killer was already there, waiting for the girls? He was already in the house, possibly. The girls came home at 1 o'clock, they said, or a little after 1 o'clock. Let's say he waits for the girls to get to their rooms. He thinks they're falling asleep or whatever. He hears quiet. Thinks that the girls are probably sleeping. He goes, does the murders. Someone comes home, hears it possibly. I mean, in the recordings of the house next door, we're hearing commotion from a very far distance, 50 feet, 100 feet away, in a ringtone video. So is it possible the attacks happened somewhere around 1:30, maybe before, on the two girls? Xana and Ethan are come home from that party at so-called 1:45 at night. So was he there? Already did the two girls, and on his way out, the other roommates see him, Xana and Ethan. Thus far, that's what that commotion is, and the screaming in the ringtone video of somewhat like them saying, screaming, "What are you doing?" or something like that. So we don't know. Now we were led to believe that this murder occurred somewhere around 2:45, 3 o'clock at night. But do we really know? Because there was no call. We're going off of two people that said they seen the person, they were there, and they never called the authorities until 8 hours went by the next afternoon, the next day or whatever. That's a big thing. I think will play a big thing in this case is why didn't anybody, even the friends that their surviving roommates called, they didn't even call the police right away. It's very interesting. Let me see what Mark says. He was allowing to be caught. Somebody in that house but hurt his drug broke mind. Debbie is the best mod ever, very loyal. Why what Debbie do now? she What'd she do now? But it's very interesting. How do we know? We're going off two people. There had to be a reason why they didn't call. Either they were drunk, stoned, high, shocked, in shock. But come on, folks. Anybody in their right mind that was sane, hearing that commotion, seeing a stranger walk through the house, after the stranger leaves, you're hearing people whimper and cry for help. Uh, you Most people would have made that call and called the police right away within minutes. I can understand them being shocked. 5 minutes, right? 10 minutes. Oh, what did I just see? What did I just hear? Somebody call the police. Now, another thing, he might not even had to go up the stairs where everyone is saying it was so creaky. You went up the stairs, you can hear everything. If he came in through the back door, that would cut down on going up them big long stairs from the first floor up to the second floor. Uh, that's very possible. It's very possible he was already there in the house. And if the girls were downstairs sleeping, the two girls downstairs, would they even have heard him come into the house? Maybe he didn't even know the girls were there, but it's very interesting to find out what actually time this all occurred. We know we can tell what time the girls died. The two that were upstairs in the same bed. And why I say that is because they were eating macaroni and cheese on the way home or when they got home from the food truck. And it takes hours before the food would digest. So, whatever's in that autopsy, you'd have to see which one was eating the macaroni and cheese because we have them on tape at the food truck getting food. So we know they ate food and they succumbed to death after that. So that food will tell us, the digestive system will tell us when about the girls died. They might have been dead before 1:30. If they were dead before 1:30 and the autopsy shows that the food was not digested at all, that means they died fast, within minutes of getting home. They would have just been able to finish their food, and they might have been killed. We don't know. We're waiting to see for it to go into court, but that would tell, right? The other two were at a party drinking and possibly eating food before they left, and it's possible they didn't digest their food when they got home. So the autopsy will play a part on pinpointing when these people died. The video of the food truck, of them being there getting the food, however long it takes to get home. Was the food digested in their stomachs when they got home? Right? It'll all play a part within the evidence. For all we know, he could have been there waiting. Girls came in, started eating whatever, or ate, and went right to bed. Still not enough time for food to digest. So the digestive system will play a part within the case. Debbie needs to go on panel, Johnny. And Debbie show. I don't know. Debbie wants to be involved in this kind of stuff, Mark. I would talk to give my hiding away. I wouldn't talk to give my hiding away. Yeah, we don't know. We have no idea when, all this occurred. They're pinpointing a time between this time. They're thinking 2:30 to 4 o'clock in the morning. The crimes occurred, but we really won't tell. What we'll tell is the digestive system of everybody, right? DoorDash came. Did anybody even eat the DoorDash food? Did somebody get the food? Who was it? They're saying Zena and them and whoever was in the house. Well, like I said, the autopsy will tell. And that's going to be, it'll be an autopsy case too of when. We have no idea. Now, if the murders occurred and they called within minutes, then we would have had a time. We know when this occurred. Where at least someone says it occurred. So we really don't know. There's a lot of questions in the roommates that survived. Was this all part of a plan? We don't know. It'll be interesting to see, though. It really will be. Xana ordered the DoorDash. Yeah, but when did she order the DoorDash? Was it her that ordered it or somebody on her phone? See, technology is great, but technology can also be used to manipulate us. For all we know, they were gone already. And the killer, or possibly killers, we don't know, used the phone and ordered it. Why? Just to make it look like they were alive. Now, this is just a theory and assumption. We've seen this in other cases with Mr. Laundry in the Gabby Petito case, and now some are saying possibly in the Kylie Rodney case. A lot of people were thinking somebody had her phone. And let's see what my chat has to say. It's easy. It's a easy call for me. Guilty. I trust the law on the big case. Chicago cops, not so much. Johnny knows. Johnny knows nothing. You have not even seen this channel. This channel will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Poof, gone. I have no idea who you people are. Never seen you. Just joking, Mark. But like I said, in the Idaho 4 case, we have no idea what time of death is. The autopsy will tell us exactly when them girls passed. because nobody is throwing that up in the case, Mark. Nobody's talking about it. Well, they were at the food truck. Exactly. Did they have food? Yes. Now we know, being that we are crime YouTube couch potato investigators, that the digestive system takes 4 to 6 hours before it digests into a certain area. So we would be able to tell exactly if this food wasn't even digested. Well, then they died before, they died real soon before they, you know, as soon as they got home or soon after eating. And that will tell. And then if it shows that the girls were already dead before Xana and them got home, he might have been upstairs doing the murders silently. Maybe, who knows? Maybe covered the girls' mouths or whatever. Maybe he had a glove on or whatever. You know, nobody really heard him. They thought it was a party or whatever. So he's there for a couple minutes, right, doing the job upstairs. The other ones come home, right, get settled in or whatever, go out to the kitchen, whatever, might have seen them then. And that's where the commotion we're hearing, where you're hearing on that one tape, the ringtone of a bunch of commotion and a girl screaming, and it sounds like a guy or somebody saying something. I don't know. We'll have to see. But we really can't say they came home. There's reports. Well, they came home at 1:45. The girls came home at 1 o'clock or 1:30 or 1 o'clock, somewhere around there. They're saying now from the food truck. Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out. Very interesting to find out. And like I said, them calling the police, we won't know. We can make an assumption of when they died, supposedly anywhere between 2:30 and 4 o'clock, they were saying. Don't know. Right? But I can tell you what, I know people are shocked, but why would they be shocked, folks? They're missing the clues. They're missing the clues. And the clue is the 8 hours that went by before they called. Another clue is, if they were so shocked, folks, then they must have seen the dead bodies. How can you be traumatically, deathly shocked when you don't even know what's going on? For them not to call the police, for them to go ahead and say that they heard a giant commotion, one of them seen somebody walking through the house, a stranger, saying they were there to help, and then watched them walk out of the house and left. Right? Is that shocking? Is that so shocking? Or is it they actually knew that the bodies were already dead and it was a horrible mess? Now that would be shocking. I can understand them being shocked then. But if they have no idea what's going on and they thought it was just a party, how can they be saying that these people were in shock? Because they didn't call the police for 8 hours. Does that make sense to anybody? Debbie is a keeper. I am going to say this, but it's my own feelings. I think that one of those girls knew Brian. Little Debbie, you might be very, very right. And he was in there already. Very, very, yes, yes. and knew he was there. He may have even showered. Yeah. Yes, there was big talk of that in the beginning of the case, that he might have cleaned up right there in the house and walked out. But how could he do all this without no one seeing him? Why did he say, okay, he was there to help them? Right? Who was he actually there to help? Who wasn't? No, a lot of people keep bringing up the bushy eyebrows. Well, heck, right? Who, what? I don't know. I don't know. Food truck guy. He's got bushy eyes. Brian Colbert. Yeah, he's got bushy eyes. For all we know, JLR was on the scene out there for another murder and stumbled upon it and heard the commotion and the madness and ran in the house and said he was there to help. But finally realized there was nothing he could do, so he biscuit buggered out of there. I don't know, it'd make a great movie. Wouldn't it, JLR? Joking, JLR. Sorry, folks. He's got bushy eyebrows. Everybody is Idaho 4 case now. No, I'm not saying JLR is Idaho 4 killer. But he does have some bushy eyebrows. I'm just saying. He teleported. I wouldn't doubt it if JLR was already in that area for a murder that happened there. I don't know how JLR does it. Many can't figure it out. And Debbie, you might be right. Teleportation. That is the only way JLR can be at all these places at once, but yet nowhere. You hit it right on the butt, Debbie. Teleportation. He must have his own teleportation system. He gets from one side of the country to the other side. He's got tunnels. Gotta have tunnels. I wouldn't doubt it. Probably massive tunnels. I would not doubt it if JLR is possibly Batman in real life. Yeah. No, Debbie. I'm thinking JLR is Batman. That would only explain how he can get from one side of the world to the other within minutes. He was weird from the beginning. Somebody pissed him off. Yeah, who, JLR? I don't know. He's good at what he does. But do we really know? I don't know. Another thing we got to go back and look at is the van that pulled up there where 5 or 6 guys got out, walked into the house, sat in there for a few minutes, and then walked out. Who were them guys? Usually the FBI don't roll up in minivans. Usually not. They usually don't do that, right? Go into a call. Right? The soccer mom's minivan. They usually don't. Who were them dudes? Were they part of maybe Brian Kohlberger's group of people that he talked with on Reddit? Crazies. Fellow killers or whatever. We don't know. Debbie's laughing her little butt off tonight. Are you feeling better, Debbie? He was a weird one from the beginning. Yeah. He's all right. I mean, he's good at what he does. He's a good reporter. But don't ask me how he gets to these places before they occur. Right? He just happens to be at the right place at the right time. He's just there. Who knows? I was on the ground laughing. the day of the Idaho or the Delphi case. As soon as I heard that one guy said, "Why'd you do it, Richard? You're scum. You should burn, Richard." I said, that sounds like JLR. It was. It was JLR. Yeah, I hope you fry in the chair, Richard. I can't believe it. How does that dude do it? I have no idea how he does it. But he's a good reporter and he gets to where the crime is. He gets there fast. And I'm sorry, I was laughing when I heard him. As soon as I heard that voice, I'm like, that's got to be JLR. It sounds just like JLR. He's just telling Richard he's going to fry. You're riding the lightning, Richard. He really said that. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that was JLR. I'm sorry, but I was laughing. It's not a funny situation, but when at first JLR was acting all like a reporter, right? Oh, Richard, I just want to ask you a question. Why'd you do it? Right? Just let us know, Richard. Everything's good, right? Richard ain't going to say nothing. And that must have pissed off JLR because now you're going to ride the lightning, Richard. My God. Holy crap. Who's that? Now, that was in the Delphi case. I don't know. The Idaho 4's got us looking for everybody with bushy eyebrows. I don't know what to say. I think some of you people out there, if you don't want to be on the bushy eyebrow list, you might want to shave your eyebrows. I'm just saying, you might want to shave your eyebrows because the Idaho 4 case, everyone's looking for bushy eyebrows. I don't know what to say. That was the description that was given of the intruder in the house. So it can go either way. The time could have been off. The girls could have came home first, succumbed to death. On his way out, he met two more, Ethan and Xanon. And they had to go before he left, witness. And he also could have been sitting there waiting for him, waiting for all of them. Maybe the girls downstairs didn't hear nothing. There was one downstairs and one on the second floor. The excuse of not calling the police for 8 hours. I'm sorry, folks, but that has become a problem to me in this case. That is a big problem. 8 hours. And what's funny is the friends that they called there didn't even call the police when they first got there. They're calling all kinds of other people. They're in shock, right? They must have seen more than what we are being led to believe, folks. Because just seeing somebody when they're saying, well, we just thought it was a party, so we went back to bed. How can you say it's just a party when you hear people screaming, fighting? You see a stranger that you see walking in the house. You hear someone say, hey, somebody is here in the house. And all this happens. And this guy walks right past you. And you see him leave the house. And you're shocked. So shocked that you don't call the police. I don't know. I would say they would be shocked because they must have seen the bodies. They must have seen the gore. Because I'm not going to be shocked if I hear a bunch of commotion. Say somebody in the hallway or in another apartment, I hear a bunch of yelling and screaming and everything, and a door slam and and uh, and a guy walked past me. I'm not going to think anybody's been murdered. I'm not going to be shocked where I ain't going to, where I'm going to close the door and go hide in the corner. Now, but if that guy walked past and the next thing I know, there's a blood trail leading out of the hallway or apartment or whatever, well, then I would be shocked. Be like, oh, what the heck is this? Right? And then you hear whimpering coming from the apartment of help us or whatever, right? Or cries of death. That would be shocking. So they must have seen something horrifying to shock them, so horrifying, because it went from them saying that it was a party, that they thought it was just a party, to somebody walked past them, to it just don't make sense. And then 8 hours passed before they call the police, and they're on the phone, and data shows they're on the phone making calls just about right after, probably soon after the murders or something, or a couple hours after the murders. Could it be? Probably not. They both said they closed the door and went back to bed. And then the story then the story they came up with is we just think our roommates are passed out. You hear all this stuff, you hear whimpering and cries for help. You hear a giant altercation. You see a stranger in your house walk by, supposedly masked with bushy eyebrows and a hat or whatever. And you don't call the police. It don't make sense. Drunk people don't think a killing is going on. Well, were they drunk? That's the thing. Were they actually drunk? Or were they in shock? The two girls were already at home sleeping, supposedly, when this happened. The two roommates, one downstairs and one on the second floor, was sleeping. So how drunk could they have been? They didn't even go out that night, supposedly. But the two girls that were at Maddie and Kaylee were drunk. Them two were drunk. And we got evidence of that at the food truck, because they were stumbling all around. Now, either they were drunk or somebody roofied them, but I'll probably say they were probably drunk. Johnny, weekend in college, being drunk, most likely home or out. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if the roommates that survived were actually drunk or high or whatever. But even drunk, for them to say they were shocked, they must have seen something horrifying. Why are they saying that a lot of people are saying, oh, they were in shock of what happened. Well, how did they know what happened? You would have to see something to know something happened. Just some guy, if it's a party house, just walking past your window or out past your bedroom door and leaving, you're going to be shocked over that when it's a party house. They thought it was just a party going on. It ain't making sense, man. I mean, you could be right, Mark. They could have been drunk and they just wanted to go back to bed. But the whole thing that they're claiming now is that the reason the girls did not make the call was because they were in shock. Well, then they must have seen something totally different than what uh, social media or the news is letting us know. We probably won't know that until court. But I imagine they must have seen something. But he was wearing a mask. Yes, the only description they got is bushy eyebrows. That's it. But Mark, you are right. Drunk people act different. They think different when they're drunk. But do we really know they were drunk or not? In 8 hours, I would make a run for door at some point. Yeah. So yeah, it ain't adding up. A lot of things ain't adding up. And it'll be interesting to see what comes of it. What actually time the girls died. The autopsy will tell that. And it'll play a role in putting all this together. They want to tear down the house. If they tear down the house, then they have enough evidence to put Kohlberger away. Uh, and that points 100% to him. For all we know, folks, he already cut a deal. And they don't need the house. We really don't know. For all we know, he was set up. But we still have that thing to answer is when did they actually die? We know the girls brought food with them from the food truck. The girls got home at 1 o'clock. Was the food eaten before they got home or right when they got home? Which will tell exactly what time them girls died. Xena and Ethan got home at 1:45. They're saying almost 2 o'clock. So it's very well possible they walked in on something and they had to go. For all we know, he was there waiting for them. It all ain't making sense. I know this much. Wait, this is ATS News. It's very late. I'm shocked to see you here. But I'm glad also that you're here. Is the time span 8 hours, folks? And people were called, and nobody, and people that came there didn't call the police, right? It wasn't until what, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. The police got a call saying that they think somebody's passed out in the apartment. It just didn't make sense. What? I understand they're trying to save the two girls, the surviving girls, but they couldn't have been that drunk if they noticed bushy eyebrows. Something ain't adding up. I mean, it could be shock. They're young girls, but you would have to see something to know that it was horrifying to be shocked. Does that make sense to anybody? Let me get a drink of water. Mrs. ATS News. Ma'am, I don't have Discord. So when people came, like the other day, you timed somebody out, but I noticed you said in chat that he was causing trouble in Discord. And when he came into chat, I didn't know he was causing trouble in Discord because I don't have Discord. I can't see Discord. So my apologies for letting that guy, uh, whatever he said, I wasn't sure what he said, but I know you timed him out. I'm afraid to time someone out because I don't want anybody to get mad at me. I'm new at ATS News' channel, so much respect for ATS News for supporting small channels. Yes, thank you very much, Miss ATS News. No, once again, oh, and if anybody don't want to be a mod, that's perfectly fine. I understand. I don't want to bring anybody's channel down either by just them being here. So, and I don't want them to get attacked either. Who I didn't notice. No worries. I just like your insight. You don't even have to tell people to hit like. Well, I I just I'm learning as I go. So, and I hope you don't mind me serving tea to the ladies tonight in chat. But let's get back to the case. Uh, yeah, I think the autopsy will play a big part of determining all this of what happened because we know the girls ate something that night because they left the food truck with food. Now, determining what time of death should be able to be told by the autopsy. So, like I said, they're saying that uh, the two girls got home at 1 o'clock at night. So it's very possible they were already gone when Xena and Ixana came home and they walked in on it. Or they walked in as something was going on and heard the whole thing and just madness occurred. Something is fishy about this case. But it always is fishy, folks, when the devil has a hand in it. It is fishy. And we're seeing this in the Delphi case. And we're seeing it in other cases. It just ain't adding up. The whole thing ain't adding up. The magic script writer behind the scenes is just it ain't adding up. Now we all know being drunk or high or whatever is no excuse when you know something horrible has happened to four people. You call the police, or you call the police as soon as you wake up, right? Or whatever it may be. I couldn't sleep. Are you kidding me? If I heard somebody going crazy and then hearing the whimpering and faint cries for help or whatever, and then you see a guy dressed in black walk past the door, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going to call the police right away, 911, and probably Homeland Security, FBI, and possibly the Pentagon. I mean, I take things overboard, but it's better to be overboard than to just close the door and say, I didn't see nothing, and not call until 8 hours later. That's fishy to me. It might not be for you folks, but that's very fishy to me. I seriously would be going to check things out. Well, that would be exactly, Debbie. That would be your instincts to find out what the heck was going on. Right? What in the heck was all that commotion, right? It just didn't add up. I know I'd be calling the police if I seen something like that. A stranger in the house, a bunch of people screaming for their lives. Police don't always know the whole story, but do their best on what they know. Well, there's reports out there saying that he was tapped into the Wi-Fi system, and heck, if they had a security system, it's possibly he was right. He could have been. We don't know what kind of capabilities he had. Heck, he could have shut everything down. For all we know, he was hunting them, stalking them for months, right? Tapping in on their. Maybe he did know one of the girls there. Maybe he was jealous. We don't know. There's so many theories of it was drugs, it was jealousy, it was this, it was that. How about he was just probably a good chance he was a serial killer, and he just happened to pick them people because maybe they looked at him the wrong way or said something, or pissed somebody off he knew or whatever. I would be looking at the other murders that have been that happened around there. Who they died the same way with pistol or stabbed. I do believe he was found with a pistol too, and knives and IDs. Rage killing, maybe, or maybe just a sicko. Maybe someone hired him. We don't know. Maybe Brian Kohlberger was set up. Then we're going to have to look for bushy eyebrow guy. Now enter anybody that's got bushy eyebrows. Because if it ain't Brian Kohlberger, the person we're looking for is a certain height and has bushy eyebrows. That could lead to anybody. No, I don't think it was JLR. I know he does have some bushy day eyebrows. And that dude is everywhere. I know, but I don't think it was JLR. Debbie, what Debbie say? Seriously, would be going to check things out. Yep. Marks, police. Yep. Debbie says, or call the cops and say some weirdo in a mask was walking through the house. My roommates were crying. Now there's silence. Exactly, Debbie. Exactly. If I heard it, I would run. If I had headphones on. Yes, they might have had headphones on. Not heard nothing. But the thing is where all these people come up and say, well, the girls were in shock. Well, they must have seen something then dramatic for them to be completely shocked, where they just close the door and hide in fear for 8 hours. Debbie says 8 hours late. No way. Yeah, 8 hours later, supposedly 7 hours or something like that. 8 hours later, the first call came in. 10 o'clock, I think they said in the morning. Well, with time change, it might have been 11, it might have been 9. I'm making sure my brows are on point. Oh, you better start shaving them, right? You might as well just shave your whole face and head, eyebrows and everything, walk backwards. Because now if Brian Kohlberger was set up, and it ain't him, but I have a feeling it is him, all theories are pointing to they got his DNA, they got data showing that he was into the Wi-Fi and into all. He was around there numerous times, 12 times that day, not including. I mean, if we go back and really get really technical, uh, and see how long he's been at this in that area, there'll be, well, heck, there'll be evidence, and we're talking phone records, we're talking actually satellite photos pulled up of that night and days before it, months before it, just to see if you could see his car parked anywhere around that apartment complex or around that house, scoping it out. Possibly. Now, folks, don't take off of the table yet. I'm not taking anybody off the table because even Jack, both Jacks, boyfriends are suspect at this point. Even Adam is a suspect, possibly. We don't know. All these people could be suspects. All the people at the food truck. Remember Joe, bushy-eyed Joe, big guy, bushy-eyed crazy Joe Jabola, the guy that one of the girls got in an argument with at the food truck. Right? He had bushy eyebrows. I seen him a couple days later on a video when he did a video. Giant bushy eyebrows. Really, folks. I mean, really. I mean, you got to keep an open mind. They're really all suspects. Anybody that has seen the girls last are suspects. They're all suspects. Whoever's seen the girls last would be suspects. Correct? Sadie Belly, question for you. Do you remember who found the bullet at the crime scene in Delphi? I'm asking because I know you do know a lot. I'm not sure who found that bullet. Which bullet are you talking about? Because now there's rumors there's 2 or 3 bullets. For one, I always brought that up, Sadie Belly. Supposedly the bullet was buried underneath the girls in the dirt. How did they find that bullet? How did they find that bullet? They must have had a radar detector. If it was buried when the reports came out, the bullet was underneath the bodies, underneath the phone, buried in the ground. Leaves on top of it. Now the whole story has changed. Now there's 2 bullets. The magic bullets in the Delphi case. I mean, I had the same question as Sadie Belly. I don't know everything in the Delphi case. No, I don't. I don't want to know. It seems like the more you know, the more you become a suspect. How did you know that? I don't know. Where did you get them photos? Someone sent them to me. I don't know. And no, nobody sent me any photos in the Delphi case, thank God. The only photos I have seen have been the photos that have been on podcasters. I have not seen any photos of any naked murder scene. Thank God for that. This is a time where it paid not to see crime scene photos because now they're saying it's illegal. Yes, in the ground. MP had a metal detector. True. Yeah, I mean, that's what was stunning to me. Oh, we found a bullet. Where? Buried in the ground. What do you mean buried? It was underneath the girls, underneath the phones, underneath the shoes, underneath the leaves, buried in the ground. And how did you find that? That magic bullet that nobody, oh, well, let's dig here. Was this some kind of a Zodiac killer that was leaving messages? Did he leave a message on the phone in Delphi? You'll find the bullet here, underneath the bodies, underneath the phones, underneath the leaves, buried into the ground. And we don't know. We can make assumptions and theories, and that's about it. That is about it. I don't know everything in Delphi or in Idaho or anything. I try and put the dots together the best I can because I have With insanity, you have to put the dots together. He is guilty. Well, Mark's made his mind up. He's guilty. Mark, if he's got any part of anything, if Richard Allen had anything at his house that belonged to them girls, then he was there. And now it's his job to explain why the girl's property is at his house. And it's the same thing in the Idaho 4 case. Innocent until proven guilty. Yes, but now you have to explain to me, Mr. Brian Kohlberger, how your DNA got on the knife sheath. You're going to have to explain to me, Mr. Kohlberger, how the data they're saying now is showing that you were hacked into their Wi-Fi. You're going to have to show me, Mr. Kohlberger, why 12 times you were at that house that day. And you're going to have to explain to me that. Whatever it may be, whether you were dating one of the girls secretly or it was a secret love affair or whatever it may be, you got to explain that. And just like Richard Allen would have to explain, if anything was found at his house that belonged to them girls from that crime scene, he is going to have a very excellent explanation of why he has that merchandise. Right? Now he's got to prove it. State's already proved it. Why? Well, because if he has anything, they got him. Because only the killers or somebody that was at the crime scene would have had any property that the girls had with them. Right. EOA did a video and I'm trying to find someone that knows for sure, but we were told MP had metal detectors in canoes that might, but bullets wasn't found for a couple days at least. That I am not sure. They might have had. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't see no canoes out there. I seen people in wetsuits dragging the river. Now, me personally, I didn't see any canoes out there or metal detectors. That first night of the search, when it was on the news out here, the next day the girls were found at 10 or 11 o'clock, depending on where you live. So they might have shut that whole area down. There might have been canoes out there, but I didn't see any. And they might have used metal detectors, but there had to be a reason for them to use the metal detector. There had to be some kind of evidence for them to even break out a metal detector to even, right? It's almost like a pirate movie. Here's an X, dig here, right? How did they know if it was in the ground? I mean, we don't even know if that's true. For all we know, the bullet could have been laying right there on top of the leaves, right in the open, right next to the girls' bodies. But from what all the reports say, the bullet was found underneath the girls, underneath the phone or something, under leaves, or you don't know who to believe. I feel I'm under attack tonight by some. Whenever I talk about Delphi, Yeah. Not so much Idaho 4, but Delphi. Sucks for Holy Reds with his DNA on the pizza crust. DNA has come a long way in the system. Yes. Yes. Here's another thing, man. When they busted Kohlberger, there's rumors going around that he came right out and asked, "Did you arrest anybody else yet in this case?" Well, that was a. What do you mean? He said anyone else? No, that could have been a diversion, trying to make police believe there was more people involved, and actually it was just him, and he was trying to take most of the heat off of himself, which is very possible, right? Or he had other people helping him. Debbie, his wife, also. Oh yeah, innocent. Criminals set up crime areas, not guilty parties. Sadie said, "Remember when Tara Gearman was good friends with Kathy Allen?" There's another thing. We got these YouTubers saying that they've been communicating with the families, that they're doing this because the families asked them to do it. And now we are finding out that a couple of these YouTube podcasters have been lying. Right? What are you supposed to believe? I wouldn't doubt it if these people are professional hackers. I wouldn't doubt it if I pissed off some of these people and they hacked into my computer. I wouldn't doubt it if they tried to hack into all your people's computers. I really wouldn't. And Facebook, too. It wouldn't doubt me one bit. You get too close to the case, and you're going to ruin it for the big YouTube channel, the head honcho, the head nacho cheese, that wants to be the head guy in the Delphi murders, right? Even the Colbert case. I don't know. It's very espionage to me. It reminds me of espionage crap and everything. I don't know. And I'm dumb, right? So I'm. Do I know anything 100%? No. Nope. Do I know exactly who did the murders in Delphi? Nope. Or how many there were? No. And there might have been more. That were SAing young girls or luring the young girls. Yes, they play a part in the Delphi case. I can't take them off of the table. If nothing else, all right, they weren't there when the murders occurred, but they were asking for 12, 13-year-old girls' nude photos. And so at least they caught them. Let me see what my chat has to say. Miss Sadie says, "Do you watch EOA?" Who's EOA? Mrs. Sadie Belly. I don't know who EOA is. I have watched a lot of ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. I love that band. They're great. No, no, I've never watched that. Is it a man or a woman channel? I love ELO. I know ELO is a great band, ain't they? I mean, Secret Room. Debbie, let's see what Debbie says. His wife knows. She has known they were all swingers. How could you not know your significant other doesn't have a wear room? Oh, you mean in the Rex T-Rex Bigelow case, right? The Bigelow Beach killer. Yeah, bunch of swingers. Well, to each their own, but I'll tell you, Rex Bigelow's starting to remind me of John Wayne Gacy. And I lived in Illinois at the time of John Wayne Gacy. And I can remember the parents. I can remember the parents talking about it. I was born in '68. John Wayne Gacy, they think, started killing in 1973, 72. That was a big thing in Chicago, folks. John Wayne Gacy. And a lot of these people say, well, nobody really knew. That's bullcrap. There was people in John Wayne Gacy's neighborhood that said they can smell the death for blocks coming out from John Wayne Gacy's house. It was just that whole block smelled of death from what the neighbors would say. I think he did his first killings in '73, but they're thinking he might have killed more than 40 people. You didn't have to retract your message, Sandy Belly. It's okay to like ELO here. They're a great band. Was the clown. Yeah, John Wayne Gacy was the clown. And that was a big thing, right? Young teenage kids were coming up missing. I was just a young kid then. I think I was about 6 or 7 years old. And that's where the saying, don't talk to strangers, stranger danger. That was real big in Chicago at that time. They were telling all the kids, don't go too far away from home. And when you go out, make sure you're with your friends. Because young teen and young kids were coming up missing out then. And, you know, a lot of people had a theory on John Wayne Gacy that he traveled outside the city sometimes into the suburbs and everything. Because there was a lot of teenage kids that were missing out in the suburbs too. So that was pretty messed up. Gacy was a big time story. Oh yeah, yeah, that was big. Heck, he could have been. They're thinking now, Mark, that he might have been killing before 70, before 73, 74. I think there's another one that used to go. He used to travel a lot, and that's why they think possibly he did more murders than just the ones that were underneath his house. Sadie, you are safe here. Yes, Sadie's safe here. She's right here. I don't want your friend Art seeing me come here. He is threatening everybody. Well, you're safe here from Art of Deduction. Art, give it a break with the women. I call him the crazy Dutchman. You're scaring people, Art. Good God. He's allowed here. He can come into chat if he wants. You're not blocked from here, Frank. Blacklisted. He blacklisted me, Sadie. Sadie Belly, he blacklisted me. They haven't blacklisted people since the 30s. He blacklisted me. I'm like, blacklisted? Good God, Frank, they haven't done that since the 30s and 40s when we were at war with Germany. No, I'm not saying you're a Nazi, Frank. I don't know who's calling him a Nazi, but he should lighten up a little bit on the women. Good God. You're scaring everybody, Frank. I'm drinking lemon water, and I'm chasing it down with a nighttime tea. I know I've been coming in here watching everything. I know I've been coming in here watching everything. So, nah, it's all right. You can, if you want to retract your messages, you're allowed to. Go right ahead. For heck, for all we know, I know Frank's mind. Everything's law, data, espionage. We sent Sadie Belly here. I'm watching you, Art. Oh no, he did a whole show on me. Oh my God, who are you then? My God, you're right. Leave. I'm joking. You can stay in here even if you're Greeno in an alt account, even if you're Frank in an alt account. You're allowed in here. Just be polite, please. Excuse me for burping. Let me see. Debbie Fox said, Sadie, I have seen him. Is it Sadie or it's Sadie? Sadie, I have seen him in action. I don't like these folks talking to women like they do. Well, I'm not gonna, some of these women might be very ornery women, but the best thing to do is just, you block them and just don't pay any attention to them. If that be the case, right? A lot of people are saying it's women that art of deduction is turned down because he's a lady killer, right? Well, not a lady killer. Uh, he's got that look, right? And all the women, that's suave. We don't know. The same thing with Greeno. We have no idea. Women are going crazy, and so is Greeno. We don't know who's telling the truth, but what we go by is what we see on camera. And when we see these men calling women names, telling them to go suck on stuff, uh, uh, threatening to punch them in the face and beat them and everything like that. Uh, it's actions that people see, and everybody is triggered. But I walk away from picking on the ladies. Believe me, some ladies have ran over me with a semi, backed up, ran me over, went forward, ran me over, and then called their buddies with semis and ran me over. But you're not going to find me bashing any women here. I like women. I like dudes, but not in that way. Uh, Breaking news, Debbie Mod of the month on YouTube. Congrats. Yes. Oh, Debbie Fox is great. She's always here, even when she's not feeling good. Uh, Great mod. Great lady. I have tried that, but he's a hacker too. Well, I wanted Frank to discuss this. I was watching his channel and in his chat one day, and he was talking about his capabilities. Well, you know me. Being I'm a patriot of the United States, this glorious country. The family fought in wars, designed all kinds of stuff. That caught me in for an interest. I wanted him to talk more about that. Well, what are your technologies, Frank? What are your skills? Right? Are you one step ahead of the hackers? Or are you 1 foot closer to Shutter Island, which was another great Leo DiCaprio movie? I bought that movie. I got it on DVD. It's unbelievable. A great movie. I'm also a big fan of the movie he did, Aviator. But really, it's a fine line of acting and on our way to Shutter Island. It's not about different. It's everyone. Yeah. Everybody sees things differently and everybody has their own opinion on a case. You can't change people's minds. Hey, listen, Jesus couldn't come to you and say, you gotta obey me and follow me or whatever. The world don't go like that. They're I've noticed some of these dudes are controlling, but some of these women are also controlling. Catch 22. Let me see what Debbie said. Sadie, we all have different opinions. We all think differently. Sometimes the same as our God-given right to not agree with everyone. All the time, I don't go to a lot of chats because of that. Sadie retracted her message. Debbie said, I believe he feels safe doing that from where he lives and behind his computer. So he will continue to threaten people like that till someone takes him down. Well, he put up all of his best guys today. He blacklisted me, blocked me. But you can't block the United States government, Frank. You can't block the White House. You can't block the Pentagon and Homeland Security and Defense. Now, we got in there today. There's no chat that the United States government can't go into if we want somebody. Mark, am I right? Mark is pretty boy Mark Klein still here. Mark, am I right? There's no chat that are you kidding me? We hunt down terrorists halfway across the world. You can't block this channel, Frank. Impossible. I shouldn't say that because the little shit will probably shut down my channel. I wish people would realize cops have to correct almost every time. Mark, Johnny, you speak the truth. Good Chicago town. What's left of it, Mark? If we could just get a grasp on the jungle. But, if he comes back, tell him no is your buddy. Noah? Did she say Noah? Noah was a great man. Is that what she said? Or who's NOA or NOE? Can somebody tell me what NOE is? Please stop using big words there. No, E. I don't know who he is. Oh, that person you mentioned earlier? Nah, I'm not threatening. I thought Frank was pretty good at what he did. Right? I thought he was pretty good at what he did. What'd Mark say? Debbie is a sweetheart. Mark, why you got to come into everybody's chat with that smile? And now you're making waves on Debbie here. You know Debbie is my chat wife. I've said that numerous times. Debbie is one of my tribe ladies, one of my chat wives. No, that's all right, Mark. I mean, I'm not gonna, I don't keep women here if they don't want to be here. I'm not. What do you think this is? The other channels? No, they're free to go and do whatever they plan or want. Let me see what Debbie said. Yeah, I think that's where he said he thinks his crap don't stink, but his farts give him away. Nah, you might be right about that, Debbie. I don't know. I got no beef with art of deduction. It's all in, uh, it's all in good fun or whatever. Right. Delphi case, keep plugging at it. It might be a ring. Who knows? Idaho 4 case, that case is very fishy. Something ain't adding up. There had to be a connection there for him to do that, or whoever did it was just a psycho. And there was no targeting and there was no beef. And they just did it because they're a serial killer. And why are the matches of the crimes and the other murders and crimes in that area within hours, around that area, 6 hours, 5 hours, 2 hours away from that area? Why do them match what we're seeing in the Idaho 4 case? didn't they finally didn't they finally come out and say they found something at Kohlberger's apartment that matched or that belonged to one of the girls or something like that? Very interesting. We'll find out in court if the court needs the house and the neighbors are tired of it and the school's tired of looking at it. Put up a 2x6 wall all the way around the house and paint it white and put a door on it. And don't tear it down until after the court. Until after the court or the case is done. Then tear it down. The only way they can really tear it down is if they got 100% proof that they got the right guy. And there's no need to do anything. And I would only give Mrs. ATS News made a good point today. People are going to be confused with animation. They want to see real stuff. Okay, this is where old technology would work better for our jurors. Get these people in there with a VHS camera recorder tape machine and record every inch of that house. Every bedroom where a body was found, every spot of blood that was documented, and video VHS tape the whole house. Point of entry, whatever they think it is, and the point of exiting the house, and describe as you're walking through the house with that Paramount camera. This is where these two bodies were found, and we found this here and there and that, and show the jurors the old-fashioned way so they can see a VH tape of the house. Now, there's going to be a reenactment that they'll have to watch. That'll be animated. But if the jurors want to see real, well, then get real VH tape and record it. Put it on a big screen for the whole court to see. If not, well, leave the house up. They're saying the college owns it and the college wants it down. How do you stop it? they would have to subpoena it and put a halt to it. The government would have to step in and say, you can't tear the house down yet until after we're done. And they probably would have to maybe possibly reimburse the college a little bit, possibly. Now, if they really wanted the house, well, they can step in and say, we're going to put a seize on the house. Heck, buy the house. Keep it up until the case is over with. Turn around and tear it down then. Who knows? We all know if the government didn't want that house tore down, it'll stay right where it stands until after the court date. After that, tear it down. Why are we wasting time? Get a juror together. Pick your jurors. Get them in there. You folks have been picked, in this case, as jurors. And we're going to start this off right away. Your first day is we're going to take a field trip to the house. Let them get in there and see the house. Video record it. Not no animation, real video. And then get rid of the house after they've seen everything and they got no more questions. We're wasting time. We're wasting taxpayer money. Yeah, let's do this already. Debbie's right in there. Let's get it on, Deb. I can see both sides on the house issue. Yeah, I could too. If they don't want to look at it no more, cover it up. Get a whole bunch of cinder block, go all the way around the house. The murders occurred during the night. Pitch black out. So if you put up a wall around it and the light ain't shining all the way in on that room or whatever, well, then bring in lighting. If it's pitch dark, then tell them, hey, this is what it was that night. Pitch dark outside. I don't know. Let's just get it over and done with. I mean, we would all like to see these cases in court before we all die. I hope this don't turn into another horrible situation where it took 80 years or 50 years for us to find out. See, if I was a juror, I would want to see it. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying get the jury picked. Get them in there, let them see the house. Right? Let them see the house. This is where we found these bodies. This is where we found a spot of blood. This is where we found this photo is right here. Let them walk into the house and say, this is a footprint coming out of the bedroom that was bloody, that we took a photo of, and lay it down right on the floor where it was taken, and explain to the jurors, this is where we found this footprint. It's not here right now, jury. You can't see it because it's been cleaned up. But this is where we found it. Now, granted, they made a lot of mistakes by letting people come in and clean the house up. We're only hoping that they did their jobs and filmed every centimeter of that whole house and swabbed everything. Light switches, doorknobs, everything. We know it was a bloody scene, supposedly. That the killer would have had blood on him. And we know he would have had blood on his hands. So any doorknob that was touched is going to have blood on it. Mrs. ATS News. My God, it's 12:30 at night. Does your husband know you're up this late? No offense, Mrs. ATS. I just want to make sure. Trust the cop. Oh, you're wrapping gifts for the kids. Now that's always good. That's great. That's family stuff. Wrapping gift. Yes, Mark. ATS News. Boom. Hey, I was even watching Crime Circus today. Right? I went in there just hanging out. I like the kiddies. The kid's good at it. I can't give these. I gotta give these people props. They might be way in left field, but they're good at what they do. I have to admit it. I like Psycho Circus channel. Right? I think mainly the people that are upset at him is a lot of jealous women because he wears his makeup better than they do. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But no, I've been in Crime Circus channel. I like it. I like the booms. Right? I thought it was hilarious when he showed his plaques and the smoke blew up. Boom, boom, boom. The smoke clears and there's Drip Drop holding them YouTube awards. I'm like, this is great shit, man. This is great. Hi. If you don't know me, I'm Drip Drop from Crime Circus. Got plaques lined up around him. I'm the one that brings you booms. And I was like, this is great. Johnny, hottest mods on YouTube. Where? I don't see these ladies like that. The Mrs. ATS News is married. Debbie's my chat wife, plus a mod, and it'd be conflict of interest. Been watching too much law stuff. Rough. You have to do that at night. The little ones used to throw rocks on the roof, pretend the reindeers were chickens to see if they were asleep. What? Your kids used to throw chickens on the roof to see if Santa Claus was asleep? Am I reading that wrong? Your kids used to throw rocks at the chickens, thinking they were reindeer on the roofs? What? Good God. Glasses, Johnny. I'm sitting kind of far away from the monitor. Let's go with it, though. It sounds good. The kids used to throw chickens at Santa Claus to wake him up. And sounds good to me. Once again, Mrs. ATS News, I do mod for a guitar channel. And I was mod for a couple other channels, but I cut way down. But I don't want to overstep my boundaries. So if you're having trouble with somebody, if they don't come right out and say something really, you don't want no cursing in your chat, right? So anyone that comes in and says a bad word or says anything bad about anybody in chat or you, time them out, right? They can say all kinds of bad things about me. I feed off of it, but like I don't let them do that in my chat, or I let Debbie handle her own, and she usually does. Yes, it's funny. I think it is funny, Debbie. And that must have been a great childhood your kids had if you gave them chickens to throw at Santa Claus to see if he was awake. It was probably hilarious. Don't ever worry about any rules. Just enjoy the show. Usually no one trolls my chat. I know you got some of the best mods ever these women probably did 10 tours and Desert Storm and everything. It's an award-winning channel, so I imagine probably a Doppler radar and everything set up there just to look for trolls. Troll. It's amazing. I'm just glad to be a part of it. I'm just glad to be a part of it, for my voice to be heard. You know, I like a lot of the ladies' channels and dudes' channels. I do. But I feel like I'm competing every time I go into these channels because, you know, some of these guys are jealous if you don't. I've noticed that. I've been going back and forth with a couple of these YouTubers. If you steal the show inside their own chat, they get kind of upset. So I just sit back. I tiptoe on thin ice. But there's no way around it. It's been documented on YouTube. Art of Deduction did come into my chat and did say, "You, my man, have been blacklisted from my channel." I thought it was hilarious, but other people took it serious. I'm like, no, just let them go. Blacklisted. I haven't heard that word in many years. Then again, I know all about blacklisting. So I thought it was hilarious. And then the whole thing, it was just it's content. And he is good what he does. But does he believe everything he hears? Because I have the feeling some people sent Frank Art of Deduction, the crazy Dutchman, on a wild goose chase. And he finally figured it out. Like Doug Carter did when in the Delphi case, when he said, "You didn't think we'd change the tactics." He was talking to somebody. Excuse me, ladies. I got to make some more tea. It's getting, we're going to end this video at 1 o'clock. It's late. Mrs. ATS News is wrapping presents, and Debbie's throwing chickens at Santa Claus to make sure he's awake. Who can ask for more? That must have been a childhood. Here, kids, here's your Christmas chickens to throw at Santa Claus. Psychobabble. It always happens. Ladies, Mark, do you see that? He comes in being nice. But then much like his name, Psychobabble, he goes psycho. No, chickens are not nice. Have you ever seen a chicken vent? I have a lady that used to be on my channel. She had her own chickens, and she said she had to vent them. I had no idea what she was talking about until I looked up venting chickens. It's something you don't ever want to see. Nah, you don't have to get my back, Mr. Klein. I appreciate it, but I don't want anybody to get involved in this madness that these people created. My voice is going out. I think I'm under attack by something. It's got to be demonic or witchery, maybe. Or could it be skinwalkers that are actually, it's somebody sleeping and they're having an out of body experience and they're actually trespassing on me, maybe, or possessing me or something? I don't know. I know my voice is going. But that's probably because we got a big weather change out here. It was really cold the other day, and now it was kind of warm out today. But I wish this Delphi case would end, and the Koberger case. I hope they find little monkey one. Nah, there's the man himself. I've seen the pipe you were smoking today, Mr. Levine. Very interesting. Very interesting. What did Dave say? It was so cold, people were contacting. Go, what is up with the giant pipe on your channel now, Dave? Good God, you might as well open up your own smoke shop. The Dave's Guitar Channel Smoke Shop. Sell tobacco and cigars. You're contracting. Contacting. I don't know. He said contact in the one, or contracting. I saw that pipe too. It was very cool pipe. Yeah, I seen him smoking it. He was just puffing away on it. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Let's see what he's got to say. I thought he was going to break into like a Sherlock Holmes or a Sherlock Holmes skit or Columbo or something. This is very interesting. He's got the pipe. That makes him look even more interesting. Tonight, I look like a. I said it was a 3-pipe problem. Well, all you need now is the director's chair and that hat, that Sherlock Holmes hat. That's probably all you need next. But Debbie, you're right about the Bigelow killer, the Bigelow Beach killer, Rex. How could his wife not have known that he had a secret room in the house? Right? He's there 1 minute, and then mysteriously he's gone. His wife had to ask, "Now, where the heck did you go? You were here 1 second and gone the next." But I do believe you're right about that, Debbie. How does she not know? You're laying in bed with somebody. How you don't know there's a secret room in your house? But then again, we've seen a lot of these killers do massive murders and be home by 5 o'clock to eat dinner with their kids, and they're laughing and having a great time with their family. And then you interview the families, and the families are like, no, had no clue that he was Richard, the ice pick killer. Right? I don't know. Yeah, well, they're saying they found at the Delphi case cigarette butts. But here's the thing, there's probably tons of cigarette butts out there. Why? Well, because uh, the search team that was there that night wasn't a real search team. For two, there's all kinds of people out there. It was a known spot for people to go party. It was a known spot for people that were homeless to go stay out there underneath the bridge. It was a known spot for people to walk through there all the time on that trail. So whose cigarette? Who knows? Could be anybody's. For all we know, the whole case, Richard Allen was set up. We won't know. We have no idea until it goes into the courtroom. Then we will know all of the evidence where it was the DNA off a cigarette butt. Was it somebody there the night of the search in the Delphi case that was smoking cigarettes? Was it just an innocent bystander that was walking on the trail, smoking a cigarette, and threw it off the side of the trail? We have no idea. Was it the investigators? Was it part of the search team that was there the next day out there walking the trail looking for the girls? Might have been a smoker. Well, we don't know. We have no idea. When will we know? When this all unravels in court. Then we will know exactly what was going on. said she tried to steal her iron. Who's that, Debbie? Let's see. They said his wife was a huge gamer and didn't care what was going on, but she got mad at one of the girls Rex brought home. Yeah, I heard about that. But the Peterson, Dave says the Peterson Sherlock pipe solving crimes. Yes, corncob and a pair of overalls, and Johnny should be milking a cow. I should be milking a cow. Yeah, Rex's wife, Debbie, I know. Did you see his wife? I'm sorry, but if that was his wife that they were showing, I was more scared of her than Rex. She was a big woman, and too uh, she didn't look too happy. Now, if I would have seen her walking down a Chicago alley, I would have been scared. I would have actually told people if I was in a car, lock the doors and roll the window up. Don't look into her eyes. Beastly looking, sorry to say. Yes, I think I had nightmares that night that I did see her. I'm just saying this is ATS news. Johnny, she would break you. I would, you gave her the chance. Listen, I've been in some dark alleys late at night in my life, right? I'm not going to lie. I used to drink and do drugs when I was younger. If I would have seen her coming down a Chicago alley, I would have locked the doors and rolled the window up. I'm sorry. And I probably would have started the car just to have a fast getaway. I'm sorry. There's no way around it. I probably would have peed myself a little bit and told whoever I was with. I don't know if that is human. That very well might be a Bigfoot coming down the alley. And Mark, you're witness some of them Chicago alleys. Well, what do you think, Stevie Ray? Right, Tin Pan Alley. You know as well as me, Mark. You would have rolled the windows up, right? You would have told your buddies, which were probably 250 pounds, don't get out of the car. Just lock the doors and roll the window up. Don't look directly into her eyes as she passes the car. Don't lie, Mark. I know you would. I would have. I would have had the car in drive ready to go. She was in Massachusetts and asked me how to get to 495. I said, start with a diet, light exercise. Yeah, she was pushing every bit of 495. Chicago gangs are bad. I think they would have been afraid. I actually think the gangs would have been like, nah, not tonight. It's cold. I think I hear my mother calling me. Right? I think that's probably what happened. There's no way I would have been in a dark alley with her. I'm sorry, Mark. I would have looked right at you and said, either you get out of this car, Mark, and take her on by yourself, or we're leaving this dark alley. We'll go look for alcohol and booze somewhere else. There ain't no way. That could be Bigfoot or possibly some kind of Godzilla that lived in the sewers in Chicago for so long. I mean, there's no way, Mark. I would have left myself. I would have just said, you know what? I'm tired. I think I hear my mother calling me. I think we're all going to go home. I don't think we need the drugs that bad. I think I would have been petrified myself. Chicago gangs are bad in Chicago. Cops worse. Yeah. Her blood type is gravy. Yeah. 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 I would have paid no attention to Rex, right? Just a 6 foot, 250-pound guy. no biggie, we'll run over him. But when that thing came walking down the behind him, that probably would have scared me. And I would have had to run her over to get out of that dark alley. But I would have made it out. Car probably totaled, but I would have lived. Her blood type is gravy, sure is. With a side of sauce, gravy, red gravy. Nah, well, who am I to say anything? It's rude of me. It was rude of me to even say anything like that. But I'm just speaking the truth. I would have locked the doors and rolled the window up. And I would have questioned myself, do I really need these drugs that bad? No, I am not on drugs right now, folks. It's just a metaphor. It's just part of the skit. This case would be over by now in Chicago. Ask why. No judge wants these cases. What do you mean if Idaho 4 happened in Chicago? If Delphi happened in Chicago? I don't know. I think the police are doing a pretty good job on it. That's all I can say. I can see why, Mark. Debbie says she can see why. Debbie also says, her hair was found on the tape of two girls. I mean, what's going on there? Yeah. If they found Rex's wife's hair on the tape, then she must have known something, Debbie. Johnny, too many years go by. Too much BS. Yeah. These cases are nuts. They sure are. I don't even think we've seen the tip of that. That's why I want to get them into the courtroom where everything will be pointed out. Everything will be gone. All the phone records, all the Wi-Fi records, all the footage. There's probably tons of footage of Kohlberger uh, from other neighborhoods, from other street lights. Just numerous amounts. It'll be interesting to see. Even people's ringtones. I imagine they probably have tons of footage. And the same thing in the Delphi case is, I imagine they got something on Richard Allen. That's why he was charged with murder, right? If they did a search on his house and they found anything from that belonged to the two girls, they got him. If not, I don't know. He's got to play ball. And Kohlberger will have to play ball, but Richard Allen's going to have to play ball. Just like he was possibly given up by Keegan Klein. So they're going to have to play ball. If somebody was involved, they're throwing death penalties at both of them. So the only way to get that dropped is they'll have to play ball. I can barely breathe. Feel like I'm getting attacked by something. I've been watching too much YouTube, watching too much Bible stuff. But I did make an excellent dinner real late last night. A bunch of chicken and potatoes in the crock pot. The other day I had some steak. And today for lunch I had a gyro, lamb meat. Bleh. No, I'm going to end this video because I mean, what can we do? The only thing we could do in the Delphi case is keep going over old stuff until more stuff is leaked, which it never was leaked. It just was leaked last year, they're saying, but I think it's new people that are getting into the case that weren't covering the case when it first started. Maybe the people they're getting their info from is misleading them or taking them on a wild goose chase. We don't know. There's so much crap in the Delphi. I can honestly say that I've been watching the Delphi case since it happened. And it was on the news. And I think that whole area, I said it once before, years ago, that whole crime scene was contaminated by people that didn't know what they were doing. There was a dog out there, but it wasn't a real cadaver dog. And there was a bunch of people, and they checked that area that night, all of it. So I imagine they trampled all over. They could have walked right past the girls. If the girls were covered in sticks and leaves, and it was pitch dark that night, very cold, they could have walked right past the girls, not even seen them, and left DNA, them themselves there. Four-wheeler tracks, dog tracks. And there's nothing the police could do about it because it wasn't a real search. They were just looking for girls that didn't show up. They thought it was just maybe missing teenagers went to a party, or young teenage girls, or went to somebody's house or something like that. And plus, you have to be missing for so long for the police to start investigating it. So it really wasn't the police's fault. And if I remember correctly, the night of the murders, or the night of the coverage of the murders, of the search, it was dark. I didn't see a big police presence out there at all. Now, the next day, when they found the girls, there was a huge police presence there. And there was squad cars everywhere and trucks. But the original search that day of the murders, that night, I didn't see a lot of police out there from the film, from the news footage. Indiana judge don't want anything to do with this. They're not knowledgeable. No, I think it'll go into court. They got a date set for a court date. Let's get it in there and let's get it over with. Like I said, Mark, this case, we might be trying Richard Allen for murder, and you might still see this case ongoing. You might still see this case ongoing. I've talked to a couple YouTubers that were police at one time, and I asked them that question. Is it possible that this case will continue on even though we got Richard Allen uh, in court and he's being tried? And they said, oh, yes. And that leads me to believe that there must have been some kind of a connection somewhere down the road. No bond means 999% guilty. Yeah. They must have something definitely on them, whether it be DNA or property of the girls that he was in possession of when he shouldn't have been in possession of it. No, he could have been walking out there, found the two girls, and took something, right? Might not have been the killer. Don't know. We'll see in court. Or we'll see in the movie. Whatever comes first, right? Or the Hallmark movie. Whatever comes first, we'll see. My voice is shot tonight. I don't know why. When the cops in charge is named Cletus, there is trouble afoot. I don't know. We might as well bring in Boss Hogg, right? And for encore, we'll have Elvis sing. I wonder if Elvis can sing a couple tunes for us in the Delphi case. I about dropped to the ground when I heard that. We got a new suspect. Who is it? Elvis. I'm pretty sure he died. 1973, I think it was. I don't know. A lot of people think he's alive. He could be. He could be. The whole Elvis thing don't make sense because if it was Elvis, the police would have arrested him and they would have came out and said we made an arrest in the Delphi case and we'd be looking at Elvis. But then again, Elvis might be on the run. I don't know. You might want to look in Vegas. I hear he's doing shows from the grave. I'm not sure. Maybe. Debbie says, oh, he's alive. In the Keys, sitting on a beach. He probably is. Elvis needs to dance to the oldies parties. I don't know what he needs to do. There's so many suspects in this case. So many people were questioned in it. They're all suspects. A lot of people are pissed. What do you mean? Well, see that guy that you guys love? You love him, right? All the women going crazy about him. But see, in a video that he made, he said he was questioned and his devices were taken from him. They won't give them back. Right? He was. I know you ladies love him to death. He's this great YouTuber, but the facts are, ladies and gentlemen, he was questioned in a double murder of two girls. And then the other night, I don't know what it is with that kid. I'll tell you what, the Lord works in mysterious ways. He claims he's been on the case from day one. He covered the whole thing. He broke it and even went to jail for it. How did you go to jail for it? You went to jail for this stuff, these murders. But yet you're this superhero. I don't understand it. I just don't. I don't understand it. I don't know. Mark said Elvis needs to do a dance. Mark said, I saw Elvis at Walmart. Oh, sure. He's on tour. If they had any proof that Elvis's DNA was at Delphi murder scene, don't you think that his face would be plastered all over as a suspect and they would have arrested him already, unless he's on the run. Boy, ain't we starting to see a lot of these podcasters on the run? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You guys see my clock in the reflections? Can you guys see that? It's spinning around the gold. It's in a glass case. Elvis liked young girls. I've seen that documentary that was just put out, Mark. I seen that. That was very interesting on Elvis. I seen that. Very interesting. And you know what, Mark? Somebody asked one of the ladies that was being interviewed, do you know if Elvis was alive today, what he would be labeled? And she laughed and said, I know. But back then, it was normal. That's what she said. And plus, it was Elvis Presley. He was one of the most good looking men in the world, she said. But even she cringed and said, I know. Which was flabbergasted. I'm a huge, huge fan of Elvis. Not for anything other than he had an incredible, incredible voice. Very powerful and had a lot of control over his voice. He had a very powerful voice. And the women did love him. So he was a model, right? He was a model of, or whatever they call that for us young dudes, right? The women loved him. And all the dudes wanted women to love, right? I think back in 1983, I was just a young lad. I think I grew a pair of lamb chops on the side of my face, only because my uncle uh, sort of looked like Elvis when I was younger. And they always used to listen to Elvis, and he had lamb chops. I think I grew my first lamb chops right before high school. I think I even had a perm too. Yeah, slicked back and everything. Yeah. Everybody, even us young teenagers, wanted to be Elvis Presley. You kidding me? Money, women. That's what they used to call them back in our days, folks. Lamb chops. A lot of you people say sideburns, but back in the days, they used to call them lamb chops. And grow me a pair of lamb chops on the side of my face. No, it is late. You all got to get up and go to work tomorrow. I want to thank the great mods, the great, incredible Mrs. Debbie Fox. Everybody, can we have an applause? I want to thank the great award-winning 23 awards, .75, I'm not sure what it is, views on her Chris Watts documentary, the great, incredible, award-winning Mrs. ATS News. I want to thank her. Everybody give props due where props are due. This ATS News award-winning channel. I want to thank Dave Levine that only stops in when he's got a new job as a pipe smoker, or only stops in when he's got A new joke he wants to throw down on us. That's about whenever he stops in, is just to throw some new material at us. Of course, I want to think, Mark, why you be throwing kisses and stuff and booms and trophies at my chat wife, Debbie Box? Why you gotta steal all the women? Johnny, I'm sub of the month. I don't know what, right now you're trying to steal all the women. Thank God Mrs. ATS News is a married woman. She's off limits. Debbie was a chat wife of mine. I had like 3 chat wives. I can't have a real wife in life, so I have a chat wife. No, I'm not married, but I need a chat wife, so Mark, you really are. That's it, I'm done. No, my bad. No, Mark, go ahead. I mean, I don't control Debbie. She's a free woman. She does what she does. Johnny put a ring on it. I can't put a ring on nothing right now, Mark. I'm too wrapped up into Delphi in these cases. You definitely get the number 1 parking spot. This is Umbra. Now the crap is getting deep. Now the truth comes out. Right? My own mod, my own chat mod, my own chat wife mod double timing me with old pretty boy Mark Klein from Chicago. You swinging your club all around, Mark? Your 9-hour. Your 9-hour. Well, you must be using your driver, right, Mark? Yeah. I can't have nothing beautiful. I can't have nothing beautiful. Well, Mark, you're lucky me and Debbie are not really married. And she's only a chat wife. Because I'd be upset you blowing kisses at her. I would be very upset. 9-iron or the putter. Yeah. Swinging around them big clubs around here all over YouTube, Mark Klein. Johnny says he's too involved in true crime. Them hotties, Debbie, and there ain't no hotties. They're all married women. They're all married women, and everybody knows on this planet Johnny Kramer does not mess with any married women. And that's the number 1 rule growing up. Don't ever mess with a married woman. And I don't. Now, is there anything else before? Wait it out, Johnny. Wait what out? I don't know. No, I'll be okay, Mark. Now, if Debbie on her free own will wants to go play golf with you so you can show her your driver, that's her decision, not mine. Right? She's free. I don't control women. Nah, it's all right, Mark. No beef there. It's okay. Johnny, that's your gal. Much respect. Well, she used to be until you showed up talking about you want to show her how your driver works. Come on, Mark. I think I'm going to end this. My voice is shot, and it's late. And you ladies and gentlemen need to get your sleep. You can't be beautiful 24/7 without sleep. I do want to thank the great, incredible, beautiful Debbie Fox. I want to thank once again the great award winning uh, channel winner, Mrs. ATS News. I want to thank all the other mods out there, Cold Truth, Little Bella, Dave Levine's channel, which, folks, I think Dave's going to be live tomorrow at 8:30. Tonight was the cigar thing. I think tomorrow night at 8:30 is Dave Levine's channel. Yes, Mark, they get trophies. They're great ladies. And they have their own mind. And they don't agree with me all the time. And that's fine. I'm not in the world of controlling people's minds. We got enough of them people in the world. They have the right to think what they want and do what they want. And they're allowed to go to any chat. Any of these people can go to any chat. No, I did not, just for YouTube records, government records, and chat records. I did not blacklist Art of Deduction. He's still welcome to come in this chat anytime. Anybody is. Anybody can come into this chat. You won't be kicked out. You will be timed out if you're treating the women bad. Mark is very sweet and kind every time he comes in here. That's all part of his act, Debbie. I'm from Chicago. He's from Chicago. We both know we're Chicago dudes. We both know. I can't. I can't say no more. I can't say no more. You're also a very good dude. Oh, I'm very good, but Mark is just, he's sweet and lovable. And chalk one up for, chalk another one up for Mark Klein. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get off this contraption, rest my voice, and relax and finish my cup of tea. It must be the Chicago dogs. I don't know, Debbie. Debbie, I'm on deck. I'm on deck of Johnny. Oh, if I toss her, you're on deck. That's up to Debbie. Right? She's her own woman. Sure, it would break my heart. Nah, sure, I probably would be in the dumps for a couple days. But I'll get over it, Mark, and I'll go on. I'll go on. Don't worry. But sure, it would be dramatic, tragic, and everything. But I guarantee I won't be making any videos on it. I won't be making any videos on it. No, it's okay, Mark. It's all right. There's nothing wrong. I like your music. Thank you, Open Mind Perspective. Now, I've been on here for 2 hours now, 2.5 hours. I want all you folks to have a great night and day. And if we don't see each other on Christmas, Merry Christmas, and God bless everybody. And be safe. Keep an eye on your families. Don't believe everything you hear on YouTube. And God bless. Yes, and you're welcome to come in here, open mind perspective, as long as you're within reason of being polite. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. No, you can behave, Mark. There's nothing. There's nothing to worry about. We're just joking. All right. Now, enjoy your night, folks, and be safe, and lock your doors at night, and just be safe. Mark, well, I'm sure I'll see you next time, and on the YouTube streets and other channels. Same thing with Debbie, and same thing with Dave Levine and ATS News and everybody else. God bless and have a great night.